Vequist. The daughter by Nyquist showed Parks Hall of Fame trainer Butch Reed she had great potential at an early age. Owned by Gary Barber, Tom McGrath of Swilcon Stable, and Adam Wachtel of Wachtel Stable, her owners hoped Vequist was the real deal.
She's just an outstanding filly. It's a great story. We bought her mother for a mere $15,000 at a testimonium 2-year-old in trading sale. We had a very successful career in her own right. And then Tom McGrath hung on to her as a broodmare, and this is her third foal. We decided to race her,
sending her to Saratoga to battle Grade 1 Company in the Spinaway Stakes.
It is Vequist, and she's gonna break her maiden in the Grade 1 Spinaway. Vequist romps at the end.
And right they were. The 2-year-old won impressively by 9.5 lengths as a maiden. After finishing a close second in the Grade 1 Frizette, her connections had championship on their minds. Vequist was training well, so later in the fall, she shipped from Parks Racing to Lexington, Kentucky. The goal, the $2 million Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
It is still day out of the office. Another 16th to go. Trying to hold off Vequist, who's coming up the rail. Girl Daddy is there on the outside. Simply Ravishing, finishing well too. It is going to be Vequist.
What a race, and what an unbelievable accomplishment from this Parks-based filly.
It's the fulfillment of a lot of almost 35 years of hard work for my family, and getting up and moving, every 3 months for the last 20 years, and moving all our stuff. And so to see it pay off like that was really an amazing day.
Vequist went on to capture the 2020 Eclipse Award as champion 2-year-old filly. She was later sold in 2021 for $3.4 million for broodmare duty to Spendthrift Farm. Jockey Roberto Rosado. Rosado rode his first race at Philadelphia Park in December of 1996. He finished second. The very next day, he notched his very first win, and the rest is history. His breakout year was 1997, and he was awarded the prestigious Eclipse Award for Outstanding Apprentice Jockey. His career spanned 25 years, mainly riding at his home track, now named Parks Racing. Rosado won the My Juliet Stakes in 1999 and many other top races throughout his career. He also rode Kentucky Oaks winner Catherine Sophia for her first 2 races, including her first stakes win, the Gin Talking Stakes in Maryland.
Catherine Sophia will give them something to talk about in the Gin Talking Stakes as she just absolutely gallops under the line.
Rosado also rode Pennsylvania-bred Midtown Charlie Brown to 3 stakes wins, including the Banjo Picker at Parks in 2 consecutive years.
Midtown Charlie Brown on the outside, surges past to take the lead late. It's Midtown Charlie Brown.
Rosado finished his career with 1,048 wins, 1,063 seconds, and 1,093 thirds with over 8,100 starts. He had earnings of more than $20.4 million. Congratulations. Trainer Suzanne Jenkins. Suzanne is a trailblazer for women in Pennsylvania horse racing. In 1971, she became the first licensed female trainer in the Commonwealth.
First of all, I was obviously the first woman trainer in Pennsylvania, but to even be on the racetrack, at that time there were no facility for women to be on the track at that particular time, to stay there. There were no dormitories, and if you wanted to come and check on your horse past 5 o'clock at night, you had a guard accompany you down to the stable, through the stable area, to check on your horse. All that has changed quite a bit.
Suzanne was raised on an 85-acre farm in Chadds Ford, where her father Edwin Sharp Hyman Sr. stood a Pennsylvania-bred stallion. Her father also worked for the Secretary of Revenue under Governor Raymond Schaefer and was instrumental in getting flat racing here in Pennsylvania. She first started training at Libertyville Park and won her first race at Penn National. She trained some amazing horses, including Grade 1 winner Batty.
I have had some very good owners and just been very fortunate. I had some nice horses. I won a Grade 1 race back in the 80s. I've had some nice Pennsylvania breds and continue to still breed just a few, just a couple. It's a lot of work, and I'm getting a little older now, and so it's just not quite what it was when I was in the 80s and 90s. but I still appreciate the owners and appreciate what it takes to make it in this business.
In 2002, Jenkins decided to go back to school to become a registered nurse. In addition to training thoroughbreds, Suzanne has been working part-time as a nurse for the past 20 years. Robert Bork. Bob Bork was the general manager at 4 tracks, 2 of them at the same time in the late 1980s, Philadelphia Park and Garden State Park. He then went on to Arlington Park and Sam Houston Racetrack, where he eventually held the title of president. His impact on Parks racing was legendary. He was the general manager for the first Pennsylvania Derby when the track was called Keystone back in 1979.
Smartin is drawing away from the field. Smartin wins the inaugural running of the Pennsylvania Derby.
It was Bork's idea for the implementation of foam bet in the mid-1980s. It was also Bob's foresight that was instrumental in getting a grass course built in 1985. He also led a successful campaign to overturn then-Governor Casey's veto of the off-track betting bill in the late 1980s. In the 90s, Bork started and headed up the TRA's 2020 committee, which brought racetracks around the country together by outlining a blueprint for interstate simulcasting. Bob Bork was a true racing pioneer here in the Commonwealth. Senator Robert Tommy Tomlinson. A true friend to Parks Racing and our horsemen, Senator Tomlinson has been one of the leading supporters of the Pennsylvania horse racing and breeding industry. Throughout his 7 terms in the Pennsylvania Senate, representing the 6th Senatorial District, Tomlinson has been a steadfast advocate for our horsemen. In 2004, at the time when the Pennsylvania horse racing industry was struggling to compete with neighboring states due to waning purses, Tomlinson championed the passage of Act 71, the Racehorse Development Act. This landmark legislation allocated a percentage of the slot machine revenue to help fund purses and breeder incentives, which eventually turned into health care and pension benefits for our horsemen.
Very exciting. I used to bring my kids here when they were small. Of course, now my daughters love horses. They have a couple horses. They don't race them, but they have a couple horses they ride. But they loved horses. They love coming here. We take them to the paddock area. I bring them up to right up along the track. They just loved it. I love seeing so many people here today. It just shows you how alive horse racing is in Pennsylvania.
The legislation reinvigorated the state's horse racing industry, which provides more than 23,000 family-sustaining jobs and delivers a $1.6 billion impact that generates $69 million in annual taxes to the state.
This is such a great asset. It's a lot of fun, and it pays a lot of taxes. They pay a lot of taxes to the community and to the state, and that's the biggest winner, and money-wise, is the state makes a tremendous amount of money off of horse racing.
Over the past several years, Senator Tomlinson has worked alongside our horse racing leadership, fighting to keep the Horse Racing Development Trust Fund intact. Congratulations, Senator Tomlinson, for a job well done.